negative correlation between height and intelligence. Persons with height with high IQ would probably one variable can increase, the other decrease. If there is a negative correlation between height and intelligence, one variable increases, the other decreases. High IQ, lower height. A person holding two thoughts that contradict each other is experiencing. Holding two thoughts that contradict each other. Cognitive dissonance. A person holding two thoughts that contradict each other is experiencing cognitive dissonance. A person holding two thoughts contradict each other. Cognitive dissonance. If there is a negative correlation between height and intelligence, person with a high IQ would probably. There is a negative correlation between height and intelligence. Negative correlation means as one increases, the other decreases. Negative correlation between height and intelligence. Decreases. So high IQ, lower height. If there is a negative correlation between height and intelligence. Negative correlation means one increase and other decrease. Height increases, intelligence decreases. Example, repeated samples. Selecting every 100% from listing in the telephone directory. Systematic sampling from a directory is most likely to represent the population versus classmate. Actually 100% from listing telephone directory. Systematic sampling from directory is most likely to represent the population versus classmate. Which correlation coefficient represents the weakest degree of relationships? Which correlation coefficient represents the weakest degree of relationships? 0.35. Which correlation coefficient represents the weakest degree of relationships? 0.35. Weakest degree of relationships. Which correlation coefficient represents the weakest degree of relationships? Actually, strength of correlation depends upon absolute value. Standard deviation 6, scores is 3. Each score is multiplied by 2. The SD would be 3 into 2 equals 6. Mean would be also double, but SD scales linearly. Mean double. Deviation 6, score is 3. 6. Following method of changing attitude. Cognitive dissonance, changing attitude. Cognitive dissonance, there explains attitude change when beliefs, behaviors conflict. Beliefs, behavior. Conformity, forced compliance, operant conditioning are social behavioral process. Operant conditioning are social behavioral process, not direct attitude change methods. Cognitive dissonance theory explains attitude change and belief behaviors conflict. When belief behaviors conflict, conformity, forced compliance, operant conditioning are social. Cognitive dissonance theory explains attitude change Cognitive. Changing attitude means cognitive dissonance. Explain the attitudes change when beliefs. Actually, cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance explains attitude change when beliefs behavior conflict. Attitude change when beliefs behaviors conflict, conformity, forced compliance, operant conditioning are social behavioral process. Cognitive dissonance theory explains attitude change when beliefs or behaviors conflict. Conformity, post compliance, operant conditioning are social behavioral process. Post compliance, not direct attitude change methods. Cognitive, बौद्धिक dissonance, changing attitude. Explains attitude change when beliefs or behaviors conflict. Not a social motives. Need for safety. Not a social motive. Need for safety. Social motives power, approval, achievement, need for safety. Is a physiological survival motive for Maslow. Is the following not a social motives. Need for safety. Power, approval, achievements. The way a person evaluates various aspects of social world. Way a person evaluates various aspects of social world is attitude. Attitude, learned tendency to evaluate people, object, events positively or negatively. Actually, the way of a person evaluate various aspects of the social world is called attitude. The way a person evaluates various aspects of the social world. Learned tendency to evaluate people. Attitude, the way a person evaluates various aspects of social world. Attitude, learned tendency to evaluate people, object, events positively or negatively. The way of a person evaluates various aspects of social world. Learned tendency to evaluate people's object events positively or negatively. Learned tendency to evaluate people's various aspects of the social world. Attitude. Learned tendency means attitude to evaluate people's object event positively negatively. Want to continue with. Want to continue. The greater the number of a person, greater the number of a person present, less like it is for people to help. This is called greater the number of persons, greater the number of persons, greater the number of persons, less likely it is for people to help. Answers, bystander effect. The greater the number of persons present, present is less likely it is for people help. That is called bystander effect. Reasoning bystanders. Class social psychology concept. Diffusion of responsibility reduce helping behavior. Reduce helping behavior. Diffusion of responsibility. रिस्पॉन्ड को डिफ्यूज करने से हेल्पिंग वर्ब प्रोड्यूस. बट द ऑटोमोस्ट सिस्टम इन इकोलॉजिकल मॉडल मैक्रो सिस्टम्स. इकोलॉजिकल मॉडल का ऑटोमोस्ट सिस्टम मैक्रो सिस्टम्स. बोन फेब्रॉन मैक्रो सिस्टम, मेसो सिस्टम, एक्सो सिस्टम, मैक्रो सिस्टम्स, क्रोनो सिस्टम, मैक्रो सिस्टम. इट्स कल्चरल वैल्यूज, लॉ, कस्टम्स. Which one is primarily result of overpopulation? Pressure on land. What is primarily result of overpopulation? Primarily result of overpopulation, primarily result pressure on land and renewable resources. Pressure on land and renewable resources. Overpopulations leads to resource strain, not necessarily increasing water level of proper use of resources. Actually, pressure on land. Overpopulation is pressure on land and renewable resources. Resource strain, not necessarily increasing water levels or proper use of resources. Overpopulation. Resource leads to resource strain, not necessarily increasing water. Study of trends in human population growth and prediction for future growth. Human population growth, prediction of future growth, demography. Statistical study of populations, birth, death, immigration. Study of trends in human population growth and prediction of future growth is called demography. Study of trends in human populations growth and prediction of future growth is called demography. Growth and prediction of future growth. Demography. Demography, statistical study of population, birth, death, migration. Study of trends in human population, growth and prediction of future growth. Demography, study of trends in human population, growth and prediction of future growth. Growth and prediction of future growth. It's called demography. Statistical study of population, birth, death, migration, birth, death, migration, statistical study of population, study of trends in human population, growth and predictions of future growth. Demography, study of future human population, demography. Statistical study of population, birth, death, migration, human population growth and prediction of future growth. Psychological model that explains abnormal behavior as learning of maladaptive ways. Physiological model that explains abnormal behavior. Model that explains abnormal